Greetings, VC. Sean coming at you here from Buzzbomb Records. Welcome to the bunker, my little home project studio here. So, anyway, first inaugural video. I want to reach out to a couple folks that have really kind of inspired me to do this. First and foremost, the guys that I subscribe to, been watching for years. So, that's guys like Billy Hurst. Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame, and the two are tied close together. David Michael, Naz Nomad, Frank over Channel 33, Vinyl Rich, Melinda Murphy. The list goes on, guys. So, and then I guess first and foremost, the one I'm making this, or inspiring me to do this first video here, even though I've been thinking about this for a while, would be Dylan over Noble. So I am going to attempt the Quarantine vinyl tag. Again, first video, guys. I have no idea what I'm doing, so hopefully I get a little slack here, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit about me as we kind of get along here. Again, I'm hoping to be able to do quite a few of these moving forward. Again, something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've got a list about that long of ideas, things I want to do. But again, thank you to everybody that I've been watching for years. Again, I know I missed somebody on that list, but I wanted to just say, you guys inspired me to do this, and hopefully it doesn't suck too bad. So anyway, with that, let's kind of jump right in, man. Get started. So first question on the Quarantine vinyl tag. Favorite record from my home state or city? I wouldn't say this is a favorite record. Just so you know, I'm here in the Great Pacific Northwest, located in Seattle proper. Let's call it kind of Seattle Metro. So there's a lot of obvious ones, right, guys? And we can run down the list of who those would be. A lot of those bands are my favorite bands, quite frankly, but I figured the way I would jump at least in here on this first one would be take something I've literally been listening to last week. And this is a band called Goodness. Hopefully you guys can see that okay, not too much glare. So yeah, really, I hadn't listened to these guys in a while. Kind of picked this out a couple weeks back, threw it on the turntable, and man, just I forgot how much I love this record. These guys were playing, back in '95-ish kind of era, which is I think when this one came out. That's when my band was kind of playing the scene down there in Seattle. In fact, I think we might even played a show with these guys. Pretty sure we did, which is probably why I got this in the first place. Not something that probably a lot of people have heard, but if you get a chance, you see this record out there. I mean, it's classic, early '90s. I hate the term alternative, but you know what I mean. It's that kind of music. It's really good. The melodies on it are great. They also did the song "Electricity" on Schoolhouse Rock. So if you have that and you're familiar with that, they did that, and that's a great version. So I'm really hoping that actually comes out on vinyl one of these days. The Schoolhouse Rock one, by the way. Number 2, album I highly recommend. So I might get some crap for this, but that's okay. I'm going to recommend it anyway. I'm not a big bootleg guy, but anybody who's into Tool, I mean, one of my favorite bands, obviously we want to see this on a official release, although it's not out on official release. I haven't seen any news if and when it's gonna be, but this boot right here, I'm telling you, sounds freaking awesome. So super quiet. There's no pops, no ticks. The range is actually really good, and you can get it for I think I paid $40 for this, maybe 50. Double album. It's on white, kind of like a white swirlish, and I know there's a bunch of different colors, but that's the one I got. Highly recommend this record. Again, I don't know if you're into Tool or not, or into prog or not. It's just awesome. I mean, you just don't. There's really no category for these guys, in my opinion. And this record kind of even makes it even more so, because it's kind of what you'd expect. The first time I heard a couple tracks off it, I'm like, yeah, it's classic Tool. Sounds kind of similar, but again, record kicks ass. This pressing kicks ass. It's a boot, I know, but go get it if you don't have it. If you don't have the CD yet, go get that. Whether that's the one with the little movie thing in it, or you get the one with just the book, go get it. Number 3, what's this one? Tip for beginners. So I've been collecting for pretty much my whole life. You know, and you're going to hear this probably over and over again. Everybody who does one of these is probably going to say the same thing. They're going to say, you know, keep it, you know, I want to say keep it simple, but just do what you like. Buy what you like. Buy what you want to get. Don't let other people, other collectors kind of, I don't know, they're going to influence you, but not so much to where you don't, you know, you feel like you've got to be a certain way about it. You know, what you're going to find about me as I kind of do these is I'm probably more into the common stuff, you know, than a lot of guys. I'm not Mr. Obscure collector guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just not into that kind of stuff. Although I will say, you know, that's one of the things I've learned or really got out of the VC when I first started watching the videos was learning about bands and records I had no idea were out there. And again, it's probably not obscure to some people, but people like me, you know, who grew up just kind of bread and butter, kind of 70s rock and stuff like that. But you know, at the same time, I just, you know, keep it as simple as you can. And again, buy what you want. If you're the dollar bin guy, be the dollar bin guy. That's totally fine. You know, and if as you kind of maybe progress, and you want to start getting into maybe some of the more collectible stuff, or maybe you know, just better pressings, things like that. So just, you know, just keep it fun. Number 1, right? That's my advice. Number 4, first record got me into deeper music. So I could answer that a million ways. This isn't the first record that got me into deeper music. However, this was the first record that got me into punk, hardcore punk specifically. So I was a metalhead guy around college, you know, early 80s when this kind of stuff was coming out. My roommate in school had this, played it, and I'm like, man, what the hell is that? That sounds pretty cool. And it's not so punk that it's like way out there and was like a difficult transition or hard to listen to, but the sound is great. It's classic Discord sound, if you know what I mean, in terms of how these records are produced. But I love the guitar sound on these. Marginal Man's was a great stepping stone for me to get into kind of this genre of music. Really opened my eyes, and again, you're going to see way more stuff from this genre for me as I kind of move along through all my stories. But this was the one that kind of started me, and there's another one here in the pile that was probably the second one that you'll see. But anyway, Marginal Man, Identity, kick-ass record. Obscure record people may not know about. Again, I'm not a big obscure guy. Probably the more obscure-ish kind of stuff that I have, and it's probably more regionalized, or even this one more genre kind of thing. But this was the first one I kind of thought of. Is another punk record back from, you know, I think this is 84, maybe 85. But Crucifix is the name of the band. These guys are out of Wisconsin, and the reason I throw this up there, again, it's rather obscure, I guess, if you weren't into that kind of stuff back in the day. But the thing you're gonna, if in fact you were to listen to this is gonna show up on a couple of my lists, and the first list is gonna show up on is one of the best produced, in my opinion, punk records that I've ever heard in terms of the bass and the drum sound in this thing. I mean, I'm in a band and I record stuff. I've been trying to duplicate the sound and the tightness of that sound off this record, and I can't do it. I don't know. Obviously, it was either mics or something these guys were using, but it was a punk record. These things were not historically produced very well, but this thing is, the bottom end of this is so freaking tight. It's and I love it. So the singing, you know, again, the guy has got screechy voice. There's really not kind of vocals on it, but there's what I found as I kind of got into punk is I got into a lot of it just as much for the music as opposed to singing and lyrics, of which, you know, I was into a lot of that stuff too. But this record in particular, the music on this just kicks ass. And there's a bunch of cool little interludes between the songs of these guys messing with the police. And it's a freaking great record if you haven't heard it before. Number 6. group collected all of their albums, or a group that I collect all of their albums. Again, you're going to see this from me. You might see some stuff in the background here. These are my guys in terms of collecting all of their records. So I've been into Kiss since I was a little kid. So far, you can see this one's got the little note over here, I guess. You know, I don't want to say how many I have, but I have a lot. Approaching pretty much all the U.S. pressings that were ever done. And this, I don't want to go off on this because this is a whole nother video, but this is my guys in terms of bands that I collect. Completist isn't the right word because I'm not going after all the imports and stuff. I'm trying to keep it domestic because there's just too much. But these are the guys that I've got the most of, and that I'm really paying attention to the different pressings and versions and labels and stuff like that. There's other bands too though that I collect all the records. Rush. I collect all the Rush records. That's another one just off the top of my head. But a lot of bands I collect all of their records. But Kiss is my. Oh, by the way, this is the white label promo. You guys have seen this. Sure, a lot of you guys have seen this. Coveted record here. This particular one's got somebody's name on. I don't know why anybody would do that, but I've got another one actually on the wall, and in the great room out there that's more mint than that one. Number 7, a band whose second album is better than the first. I'm gonna get some grief for this, but I don't care. And do I dare say it? Is it possible that this one might be better than the first one? I think it is. And the reason I say that is not, maybe not so much for the content, but the first one, I so burnt out on that thing. Again, great record. I listened to it, but I listened to this one way more than the first one. In fact, I listened to the third and fourth one, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, more than this one, because they're better than this one too. But this is, again, I'm just kind of joking around. This was the first one I thought of. There's a ton of other bands. I've seen, I think Dylan, somebody threw up Zeppelin, maybe that was Rich. I would agree with that one too. But there's a lot of bands that their second records, in my opinion, are better than others. But I thought I'd throw this one up. Maybe stir some controversy, but, the songs on here, somebody get me a doctor. Come on. Come on. Light Up the Sky. Come on. Awesome. Whack-A-Mole. So, all my stuff is like here, and it's back there, and it's in the room over there. And that's another video I'm going to have to do at some point, or another project I've got to do, which is arrange all this stuff. Believe it or not, none of this is in alphabetical order. It's all in Discogs, I will say that. It's all cataloged, so I know what I have there. But when I got to go find stuff, I got to remember kind of when I bought it. And there is some method to the madness, believe it or not, on where stuff is stored, but none of it is in alphabetical order. So when I was putting together this video, and actually I was working on another one. The first one I was going to do was not a response, but I saw Melinda kind of do a top 20, and I thought maybe that would be the best way to kind of introduce myself and kind of do my first one, kind of show my top 20. So I kind of started on that one a couple weeks ago, and it took me, to pull the records took forever, and then I got tired, and then I didn't want to do it anymore. And then I saw Dylan throw this one up a couple days ago, so that would be maybe cooler to start with. So anyway, long story short, Whack-A-Mole. I swear to God, I just went and grabbed this out of one of the racks in there, and it was this. So America's Most Wanted by Mr. Cube. Story on this, man. I saw Cube. It was Lollapalooza 90, I think it might have been 91, over in Bremerton here. He was late because he was playing. He must have played a show up in Vancouver the night before. Got detained at the freaking border, so he was late to the show. Lollapalooza. He got up on stage and was fucking pissed. But that said, I tell you what, kicked ass. First time I'd ever really heard kind of this style of rap. I'd heard the Run DMC stuff and Beasties, but I never really heard the gangsta rap, whatever you want to call it. genre, man, and it was so good. So I ran out. This wasn't the first one. I actually got Death Certificate, which is the first one of his I got, and then I got this one. But still one of my favorite guys today. I go to this record and Death Certificate all the freaking time, all the time. So it's funny I grabbed that. What is next? What album have you listened to most of the times in my life? I mean, geez. I think a couple guys have said that. I could answer this a million ways. This record I'm just kind of guessing at just because I've had it. Not this particular pressing, but I've had this since day one. This was one of the records that was one of the first, that kind of got me into playing guitar. It was the first one that I heard again. I was like, wow, what the hell is that? Who are these guys? Kind of thing. And it's this one. So Permanent Waves. Again, I've listened to this a million times. The way I kind of looked at it when I was thinking of this, I'm like, back in the days when we'd carry CDs around in our cars, you'd have a big like envelope of CDs and you'd keep those in your car. At all times in my car, there was a Rush record, there was a Van Halen record, there was probably a Pearl Jam record, there was an AC/DC record, there was a Tool record for sure. But they always kind of rotated. And so for Rush, it was like this one, Hemispheres, Farewell to Kings. So, I mean, yeah, I like the more popular stuff, and people probably argue this one's super popular. It is, but, I listen to this way more than Moving Pictures, way more than 2112. So anyway, I'm real excited, by the way, to get the box of this. I think the box is coming out here in a couple weeks. Set of the anniversary of this. This is the MoFi. But anyway, great record. Listen to that a freaking million times. What's collecting pet peeves? I kind of touched on this earlier. It's I don't want to keep bringing the I know a lot of guys have already talked about this, but kind of the snobby guys. I'm not into those kind of people. Just in general, it's whether you're recording. Or not recording, but collecting records or anything else. If you're a snobbery kind of person, not into that. The I'm better than you or I'm smarter than you kind of people, not into that. So as I kind of got into the VC and I was watching different channels, kind of wading through who was who, and those were the first guys I turned off. I mean, I don't care to hear about how smart they are about stuff. And again, keep it fun. But so I hate that. Just I think like a lot of people do. I feel like I skipped number 10. Sorry. Show an album with crazy story. It's not really a crazy story, but I'll tell you my first record I bought story. It's not really crazy, but it's kind of kind of funny. Anyway. So when I was, this would have been, I guess, 78 maybe. Might have been 79, probably 78, somewhere around in there. I had got a paper route, and so I had my own money for like the first time. I never really got allowance or stuff when I was a kid, so this is the first time I had my own cash, right? So I was going to go buy a record, and so at this time I'd had K-Tel records and stuff. My parents had got me those for Christmas. We had, just before I got this, my mom had bought Kiss Alive 2 on 8-track for us to listen to in the car as we were driving from Pocatello, Idaho to Fountain Valley, California, because we were moving there. So I guess that was supposed to make the drive better. We got Live 2 to listen to in the car. But anyway, so technically, I guess those were the first kind of records I had, but I didn't buy them with my own. The first record I bought with my own money, it's kind of a funny story, is this guy here, News of the World. So the story behind it was, so I go to the record store with my brother. I've got my own cash to spend. I'm going there to get Kiss Alive, is what I'm going there for. So I get there, and it's like $10. I think it was $10, and I didn't have $10. I think I had 5 or 6. So my brother's like, oh, dude, get this one here. This is a really good record. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who the hell this is. I don't know why you think it's such a great record. But anyway, long story short, I buy this one. I get it home, put it on. It's obviously got We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions on it. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Then it goes into Sheer Heart Attack, and I'm like, what? I don't like this. I don't like this record at all. And I was doubly pissed because, speaking of Van Halen, that's what he bought that day. It was the first Van Halen record. He tells me to buy this. I hate it. And I eventually went back a couple weeks later and got Alive with my next paper out money. But anyway, I like this record now. Not my favorite Queen record. I don't think it's even close to the best Queen record, but I like it. Oh man, I'm 20 minutes in. I gotta pick up the pace here, guys. This is gonna be way too long. What's the next one? Album or genre people be surprised I like. I don't care. I don't apologize for this at all. I love Shania Twain. Sorry. It's a good record. Obviously production, Mutt Lange. Like it or not, these songs are really good. And I think that's awesome. There'll be more to hear from Shania later. I'm not afraid to admit that I like Shania Twain. Album from the year I was born. That one was simple. Born in 1966. So Revolver from 1966. This is the one of the reissue monos. You know, it's funny. I was looking through all my Beatles stuff. I'm still trying to collect all original presses of Beatles, and I have most of them, but I didn't freaking have this. I could have sworn I had this, but I didn't. But I did get one of these monos. This is, in fact, if I had to pick my favorite Beatles records, it is probably this one. I mean, Tomorrow Never Knows is my favorite Beatles song. But that's from 1966, year I was born. Show a 10-inch was the next one. I'll show this one here. This is Husker Du Metal Circus. Again, like some of you other guys, I'm not a huge 10-inch fan. I've got a stack. You know, I probably have, I don't know, 40 or 50. But I don't listen to them. I actually probably listen to the 12-inch of this more than the 10. I don't know why, but another pivotal record for me, by the way, was this one here. And you're gonna, you know, Mr. Bob Mould was in this band. You're gonna see over and over again in my stuff moving forward. But one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite records. The guitar sound on this, again, I don't know how they did, if he's playing a 12-string or what the hell they're doing. But I think it's just a great guitar sound and a great record. Interesting fact or song on an album. It's not really an interesting fact for me per se, but the first thing I thought of that I would show is that this place here, that's my store. Not my store, like I don't own it, but that's my hometown store. That's my home court. So this stuff up here up top, you see, over here, I can't deal with this camera. So this is where all the vinyl is, actually upstairs here, behind these gates here. But so this is my place, man. This is where this is recorded. The guys at Easy Street, you know, Matt and Andy and Matt. I mean, I hope all you guys are doing good, by the way. I don't know if you would ever see this, but if you do, I'm going to be the first one through the door when all this mess is over. But anyway, this is my place. This is my place, and I'm very proud of that. The guys over at Easy Street. In fact, I'm kind of tied to that store. There's a couple other cool pressings. This was the Sonics one. Again, from there, it's got, I think this has like the set list and junk in it, 287 to 500. But yeah. So that's my place. I think the next one is Show an Album with an animal on the front. This was the first one I thought of. Again, showing my Seattle roots. Alice in Chains. Cool cover. Again, I can't really say too much about this other than this is my favorite Alice in Chains record, between this and Facelift. But this is the first one I thought of. Tough one to find, by the way. I've seen a couple copies here in town from time to time, but yeah, this one's not that easy to find. Never reissued this guy, so I've had that since day one. Crazy artwork. This is another first one came to mind because this is just freaking whacked. I mean, any of the Raymond Pettibon stuff. I mean, I've got some stuff up here on the wall of his, but I mean, what a jacked up cover that is. So Black Flag, Family Man, obviously not the best Black Flag record. It's not spoken. Well, it's spoken word, and then it's instrumentals on the other side. I never listened to it. I think I listened to it a couple times. We used to recite some of it when I was in college, me and a couple of my friends. But yeah, that's kind of a jacked up, kind of crazy artwork cover on the front of that guy. But I love Raymond Pettibon. There's actually a really cool documentary about, and I can't remember what it was called, some punk rock art documentary. I think there's a couple of them. But they had one for him, and then they had one for the guy that does the collages and the Dead Kennedys albums. So they're cool documentaries. If you have a chance, go watch them. They're pretty cool. Show a really good album you can get really cheap. I don't know if I'd say this is a really great album, but it's always super cheap. One of my favorites. I don't know why, man. This came out when I was in junior high. We played the crap out of this in the locker room. Baseball, football, locker rooms. We just played the crap out of this. So, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Boom Boom Out Go the Lights. That was a song on here that everybody knew. I still usually skip it, but this record to this day, I mean, this is one of these, and again, I'll talk about this kind of stuff later. But one of these memory burn kind of records that, I mean, I just remember it so many memories come from listening to this. And again, you see this all day long for like $5, and it's a great record. And Pat Travers is freaking awesome. I've got actually a lot of his other stuff too, but that's always super cheap. Good record. Hopefully I'm not skipping stuff. I'm trying to finish this because I'm already 26 minutes in. Album with an acquired taste. Again, I've got some of these. This is one of the first ones I kind of thought of. Then I thought this would be kind of cool to show, but it's Are We Not Men? We Are Devo by Devo. This is the UK press, I believe, is what this one is. I actually found this in San Jose like a year ago. I was down there on some business, but anyway, first time I got this record, and I don't even know why I got it. I mean, I kind of like the song Satisfaction, the cover, but I got it and I played it, and I remember just going, that thing sucks. I don't know who would listen to that crap. But the more I played it, the more, I mean, Uncontrollable Urge is one of my favorite songs. And again, from a production quality standpoint, I love stuff that sounds like this. That kind of flat, not overly bassy, but kind of that flat, and you can crank it up and it doesn't blow out your freaking woofers. But that's what this record is. I think this is another great produced record. I don't know if Eno did this one or not. Did Brian Eno do this? He might have. But anyway, acquired taste. This one was for me. I love it now. Didn't necessarily like it when I first got it. And then last but not least, show a most recent find. I was actually going to show you the new Sparta record I got. It's back on the turntable back there. But I played it yesterday, and it's not very good. And I'm very bummed to say that. So maybe I got to listen to it a couple more times. But the first spin, I'm like, it was not very good. So I'll show another one. This one actually showed up yesterday. So I haven't even got it out of the shrink yet. But this is Sugar, B-Sides. And again, to my Bob Mould reference earlier, one of my favorite guys of all time. Sugar's one of my favorite bands of all time. I saw these come up on Sound of Vinyl UK about a month ago. And I tried to order them and put them in my basket, and I went to check out. It won't let me freaking check out. And it said, I guess, they wouldn't, for whatever reason, wouldn't ship. When I say these, half step back. So this label here, whatever the heck it is, what is it? Demon or whatever the hell it is, re-released a bunch of the Sugar stuff. In fact, I think they re-released all the Sugar stuff, and then some of Bob Mould's catalog, which some of it I don't know why they re-released because it's only a couple years old. But anyway, they did, and it was on Sound of Vinyl. I saw it pop up in in the email feed I get. So again, I'm going to get it. Couldn't get it. Wouldn't let me check out. So I actually went to Amazon, and they had this one posted. They had the hubcap record, the Bob Mould hubcaps. I got that. And then I got the live record, which, again, I was really trying to focus on the ones that I didn't have already. Or like this one. I don't think they ever released this one on vinyl anyway. But anyway, this one, recent find. Awesome record. It's it's obviously it says B-sides. There's a couple different alternate takes on here, some live stuff, a couple really cool songs. That first song, Needle Hits E, really great song. So anyway, brand new. That's one I just got. As opposed, there's a whole nother stack of junk, but we'll get to that later. So hopefully I did okay, guys, in my first vinyl video. This has been the Quarantine vinyl tag. Again, Sean, Buzzbomb Records here. I have no idea how to post this yet, but I'll figure it out. Obviously, if you're watching this, then I will have figured that out. The other thing I don't know how to do is to get people to find it or to go look. So I'm probably going to reach out to a couple of you guys that I've already mentioned earlier and see if you can maybe help kind of, I don't know, maybe share some links or whatever and try to, to get this out there. So anyway, hopefully you like it. Sign off for now. We'll hit you guys up here fairly soon with a new video. Thanks again, guys. See ya.